All right, welcome everyone. It is Wednesday afternoon, and that means office hours here on the Academy. This is where you can learn about updates from the last week on Intune, ConfigMgr, and other Microsoft infrastructure. And this is also where you have the chance to ask questions to us on pretty much anything related to those areas. So, with that being said, let's get this one going. Love that intro. Hey, Andrew, how are things?
Doing pretty well over here. We've had a nice week of weather that I can't complain about. It's Wednesday. We're halfway through the week. It's office hours, so all good things. How about yourself?
Well, likewise. Hard to disagree on that part. It was a very good introduction there.
Excellent. Well, yeah, and I don't think your weather's too different where you're at compared to me. So
No, it's not quite close, in fact. So, yeah.
awesome.
But what's been going on in our little world, Andrew, since we spoke last week?
A couple of things that I came across over the last week. If you'd like to share my screen,
I should be able to do that.
Excellent. So I've got a few blog posts that I've come across. Some I've gotten through. Some are on my to-do list for Friday night, Saturday night. A couple of tools and some announcements that I've seen. So one of the first things that I had was a blog post from Nicholas Tinner on enabling network authentication with Azure AD only joined devices in Intune. So obviously just sort of giving the summary of what his post is here at the top. A lot of us going through the journey towards Azure AD join only. If you're using things like PKI for certificate-based auth to your network, for example, Azure AD only join, Azure AD join can provide a little bit of a challenge. So Nicholas's post here kind of describes one method of solving that challenge. So this is a common thing that I hear come up. So I thought this was useful in sharing. Had another post, the community solutions and news surrounding the driver updates solution keeps pouring in week after week, which is awesome. I'm loving seeing all of this excitement around it. So Peter Klapvik wrote up a post on creating a Windows driver update approval report using Logic apps, which is pretty cool. I know, I think we've shown a couple of Peter's blog posts on Logic apps here in the past, and I'd like to see how some of this automation works in conjunction with some of these other systems that we're using day to day for systems management. Pretty cool stuff there. I saw a tweet from Ugur the other day for a new Intune offboarding tool. So this looks pretty cool as well. He's got a little GIF here in the tweet on how it's used, and basically this GUI-based tool will help you remove and offboard your devices from Azure AD, Intune, Autopilot. So another one of those types of tools to have in your tool belt. I know just down below, it doesn't look like it's showing up for me here in the link, but just down below this tweet, there's a subtweet that has a link to his GitHub that has that solution on it. And I know he's already released a second version of it that's added some features that people requested on Twitter, which is awesome. I also saw that Rudy, ever busy and diving deep into some of the systems that we manage, posted a new post yesterday and updated today surrounding the Microsoft Defender for Endpoint Attach or security management solution. So this is the solution that was added into MDE that allows for devices that aren't managed by Intune or ConfigMgr to actually receive security configurations directly from Intune. So Rudy's got a great post here kind of diving into the details on how a device enrolls into this service and how policies are actually delivered down to the device. So always cool to see some of this deep dive here from Rudy. And last but certainly not least, we got some news from Microsoft that I know we were all hoping for and related to Windows 11. And that is that Windows 11 23H2 will be available as an enablement package. And I don't know about you, Johan, but I think that that is cause for celebration. I am so happy to see that.
Yes, sir.
All right. So that was pretty much what I had.
All right. I was inspired by Inspire. I had been watching some of the news that came out of Microsoft Inspire that is running this week. So for those of you who haven't had a chance to see any of the keynotes or informational session just yet, it's still not too late to sign up. You can definitely get a free seat as a digital attendee and join. And let me see, I actually had a link for that, so I'm just gonna head back to here and share my screen. So here we are. Here we are. That is not that. This is, by the way, a new level of stupidity, I think. On my part, I can probably share that just as a fun fact. But in one of my lab environments, like 1 out of 4 ConfigMgr environments, I forgot to, when I set it up years back, I forgot to flip over my report server into simple mode, and that log file grew a little bit. So I was wondering what the heck is going on here. So I figured I could share what it used to look like about an hour ago, just for the fun of it. It wasn't working for me, at least. A 1.5 terabyte log file. So note to self, do not forget to turn off simple recovery mode instead of full, which is the default. But anyhow, back to Inspire. Here is the link coming up right now. So this is where you go and sign up. You can either sign up with your normal Microsoft account or a LinkedIn connection or whatever you prefer. So highly recommend to go ahead and do that. If you want a 2-minute version of the long keynote from today, Satya posted this one earlier. It's just a video you scroll through, but this is where they highlight a lot of the, for example, AI investments they're doing. For example, they announced the pricing for Copilot for Windows. Turned out a bit more expensive than I thought it was going to be, by much. I thought the remote help was expensive at $350 per user per month, but in this announcement here from this morning, they announced that Copilot for Microsoft 365 it's $30 per user per month, and that's a lot. I thought. Not sure if it's worth it yet, but well, time will tell. Time will tell. Another announcement I stumbled across was Donna Sarker sharing out a little bit of Microsoft's partnership with Facebook, aka Meta these days, or Meta. But they will offer their new Llama 2 AI platform in the Azure catalog, AI catalog, as well as a local installation for Windows. Not sure what that hardware requirement would be to run something like that. But anyhow, I thought it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, not related to inspire in any way, but inspiring at least. I convinced Mike Terrell and Maurice Daly to join us back for a. Let's see where I put that one here. On August 30, we're going to do a repeat of our modern driver and BIOS management course for our community. So these courses are completely free to attend, and they're an hour and a half long. You have the chance to answer questions and whatnot, but we will spend that hour and a half diving into, well, pretty much this, how we can manage drivers and BIOSes. So that's what all I had. Do we have any questions coming in?
We do, yes. One coming in from David on YouTube. Any news on an updated ADK with the CVE 2023-24932 fix, which is the secure boot revocations enabled out of the box? Will there also be an MDT update without x86 dependency? So two different questions, I think.
Yeah, the short answer to both those questions is no. I haven't seen that, and I doubt there will be one. Microsoft has been notoriously not good in providing updated boot media when there have been issues in the media of any kind. So you are pretty much off to a healthy dose of PowerShell to make those changes into that media. Gary has a pretty good script you can borrow. Gary Block, he posted it back in May when the announcement was released. See if I can find it real quick. Yeah, so this one here. Yeah, here is a script, PowerShell script that you can run to inject the media. The critical part here, and I actually answered a tweet about that this morning, is if you are doing that on your server, say that you have an old, let me jump over to, I have a lot of environments. Let me start by this one. So this is a really old ConfigMgr server running on Server 2016, still supported. But if I open up a command prompt and try to run dism, you will see that the dism version is going to be of Server 2016, which is basically a 1607 Windows 10 version of dism. I cannot use this dism version to do all types of servicing of newer boot images. So if I have, I don't remember what ADK version I have on this one. Yeah, so this is an ADK for Windows 11 22H2, so the latest ADK. I won't be able to service any boot image using this version of dism. So instead, I would have to open up an imaging tools command prompt and run dism from that one. Because now you see I'm running the right version of dism. And of course, you can set that as a system environment variable to actually have it look in this location instead. Or you simply make sure to specify that path in your script. So in many of my script that I'm using for, whatever, when I need to access tools of specific versions, let's see, this one. I typically specify the path to dism as being part of my ADK installation. And then every time I need to do something with this and whatever that might be, I simply call that path in the script. So that's how you get the right version all the time. All right. Let's see. MDT update? No, there won't be an MDT update. I haven't heard anything that even hinted about it being a new version of MDT. A super quick trick, if you do install ADK for Windows 11 22H2 on a device where you have MDT also, if you want to use MDT. And MDT, by the way, don't support it. It just happens to work, but it is not supported. If you go into the ADK installation directory here, go to WinPE, you can simply take your AMD 64 folder, do a copy and paste, and call it x86. And MDT won't make a fuss. MDT will just happily, all right, there is one. There is a WinPE here, perfect. It's not never going to use it, but it doesn't complain when you start. So quick little fix there to get MDT working on that. I have some older posts as well on my blog covering that topic. Yeah, basically some notes here. We share this link as well, but kind of covers the same scenario that you need to copy that one. And there are some WinPE changes you need to do as well if you want to play around with it. But yeah, unfortunately, MDT is not receiving any love at all these days, at least not from Microsoft. The community is pretty good. We have many of us join this project here, Friends of MDT, where we are adding in support for Windows 11 and a bunch of other things. But this is not supported by Microsoft. This is just community best effort type support. But anyhow, long answer to a short question, or short questions. Any other questions?
That's all I'm seeing for the moment, but we do have quite a bit of time left.
Yeah, that's a whopping 40 minutes. So any questions you might have, throw them our way, and we'll be happy to answer.
I will add on that CVE question, if you go back to our May 17th office hours, that has several links available for anybody that's looking for solutions on how to fix that.
That one we should be able to find here. May 17. So here then.
Mhm.
That's when we were joined by Adam and Steve.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yep. And I was elsewhere. Forgot where I was. I was not at home. You can see that.
Oh, I remember where you were at. You're in Arizona.
Oh, yes. Phoenix, working.
Yes.
Warm. All right.
I'm pretty sure I saw Steven get announced as an MMS Miami presenter.
That would be shiny.
Yes. Quite a few announcements coming out the last week or so, which is awesome.
See if well, Adam is going to be there.
Oh, this is the 2021.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, my bad.
I don't
thought
think
I
that they
clicked the. So close. Good call.
I'm not sure if they have the Miami sessions opened yet, or the Sketch page.
Well, Steven is going to be there for sure. So, yeah, all right, we'll see.
Oh no,
Anyhow,
they did open it up. That's the
that was the
MOA
MOA.
sessions. There you go. I just dropped the link in the chat.
Thank you, sir.
Uh
Directory speakers.
huh. Although to be fair, I don't know if that's being broadcast out there at the moment. So if that's the case, Brian, I'm sorry.
We are so sorry. Yeah.
So awesome lineup so far, as always.
Did you make the list?
Not yet. Still crossing my fingers.
All right, we'll see.
All right. Looks like we did get another question come in from YouTube, though. Do you recommend using Microsoft Connected Cache in standalone mode, eFlow or Mariner CBL, or do you prefer to stick with P2P DO?
Well, the only connected cache that I have available to me, apart from our membership in the private preview for the cloud versions, that's the only one I have. So that would be the one I recommend to use. Um, the other ones I'm not familiar with that was mentioned there. And even if you have a connected cache server, clients can still use peer-to-peer to each other. They will just do much less peer-to-peer compared to if they not configure to use a cache server. But even in our lab environments, we have cache servers running just to reduce the load of things over the internet. And it's a significant, I mean, if you have environments that looks pretty much like this, where you have clients that are sharing and the internet location centrally, putting in a local cache server and enable MCC on that one obviously reduces the traffic here a lot, because that one is going to act as a proxy. So clients are connected to that one to get the content. So some scenarios it makes sense, or if you have a lot of clients in a remote location and you don't want them to download the event link at all, well, of course, then you can have your cache server in a remote location, even though we try to reduce the number of those as much as we can because they have to be managed. A challenge with the connected cache server, it requires ConfigMgr. That's not big of a deal, but if you have multiple distribution points in the same boundary group, it will not round robin in between them. It's going to pick the first one. So you're going to see a very disproportionate usage. So on this environment, I only have one DP, but this one has been enabled for connected cache. I have this setting right here. And right now my cache content is, let's see, where I put that. Yeah, out of the 150 so that I assigned as a maximum, it only cached, I don't know. I would expect less than 50, but we'll see here in a little bit. Only for that one, I can show you my old mug that I brought back, Mr. Right. My wife has one, of course, that is Mrs. Always Right.
That's true. She
Yeah,
is.
cannot argue that one at all.
Not at all.
All right, so 87 gigs currently being used. But this is basically to prevent my clients in the lab environment from reaching out and grab stuff on their own. Because, as you know, we live on the countryside and internet access is limited. And sometimes I deploy hundreds of clients at the same time. And I don't want them to just start to hit Microsoft Update servers for stuff that I can cache locally.
Yeah, we've seen what happens when they do that, right?
Yeah, it's getting a little bit busy. The server. It's funny, even when I started to deploy, see if that server is operational. Some of the Intune trainings we do, we script up various virtual machine for autopilot and for these types of deployments. And I even started to add in code into those templates. So even before I deploy the VM, I just mount the virtual hard drive and I smacked in the instructions to use a cache server. So the second that machine boots up, it already knows it's going to use a cache server. No need to wait for a policy or anything. So yeah. I have a script here I was using for like basically mass deployments of VMs. And we deploy about 100 at the same time, just for testing. And without that cache server, that killed my lab.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyhow,
That's awesome. Pretty clever way of dealing with that. All right. There was a follow-up.
Yeah, sign up for the public preview. I actually didn't know that they switched it to public preview for the enterprise version. I only thought it was the ISP one that they released in public preview, but that is good. Good to know.
Well, it looks like it's still Microsoft Connected Cache for ISPs is now in public preview.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we talked about that before, Andrew, if you should actually register an ISP or become one, yes, to.
Yeah.
Why not?
ViaMonstra networking.
Inc. Networking RS or is us.
That's right. All right. We had a question coming in from Blair on LinkedIn. Any potential pitfalls or gotchas using the hydration kit for deployment of production environment? I've used it for several labs, but have potential to build one from scratch.
Yes. I mean, the setup itself is valid, but the database configuration is not designed for a production environment. So the volumes for the database would have to be changed. It's not terribly complicated to modify the scripts for that, but in usual, when you size a ConfigMgr server, you need to have something like this. So that you have like different volumes for different components, because that usually gives you performance. Now, if you have a super fancy flash array with, from your SAN with unlimited number of IOPS, yeah, sure enough, you technically have everything on a single volume and it will perform just fine. But what I've seen over the years is that storage teams are actually throttling on a volume level. And for example, these volumes here, they need to have a really, really good performance. They are not very big. Even that the largest customers of ConfigMgr, they will not have a database over much more than a terabyte of content. But most ConfigMgr customers is less than 100 gig or around 100 gig, at least if you're a smaller one. But even so, divided up makes allowed to grow very easily. Volumes like the program files where you have the inbox folder, where you have your content library, they don't need that much of performance because they're not used as much. ConfigMgr offload a lot of this to the distribution points. So on the site server, it's only the database volumes where you really need a good use. And our hydration kit does not set up this structure, at least in the one that we have on the website. I had an older version that I used many moons ago. This one here, it was written for a basically where you have a VM template, but you still need to set up ConfigMgr after the fact. I do believe we had some scripts for the databases. Let me double check that. Yeah, I wrote some PowerShell script to set up the right different type of volumes for ConfigMgr. And then I had a PowerShell script that would set up SQL for those volumes somewhere. So basically, the SQL installation honored to use those different volumes. So if you change the hydration kit from what it is today, I can take the 2019 one, it will be just fine. And if I go to the SQL installation, here in the bottom where you define the various locations for database, log files, and temp folders, you would just change them to different volumes. And you would have to change your sequence to also partition those disks, because right now we only have two volumes in this sequence. We have a C drive and we have a D drive. But you will have to add a script that formats those volumes as well. So other than that, it's a standard setup. It has all the requirements that you need, all the prerequisites, and all that fun stuff. Got a follow-up comment there on the connected cache. Early preview apparently is the wording for the non-on-premises version of it.
All right.
Any other questions?
Just a follow-up thank you from Blair.
All right, you're welcome. Well, there's still 23 minutes left, so if anyone have any questions, we'll be happy to answer.
Okay, don't want us to have to shift over to pop culture. We'll have to talk about Barbie and Oppenheimer. And
Oh, good. Oppenheimer, I'm going to see. The other one, not so much.
I would have expected you being there on opening night.
No. Had my two daughters been, well, much younger, they would have dragged me. I would not have much saying that, but since they're adult now, I doubt I'll have to be dragged into that one.
Yeah. Too funny.
But all right, I do not see any more questions. So guess we'll have to go out in a nice weather and sit down and just relax after a half week. Not quite there yet for the weekend, but getting there.
I'll take that.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for the questions. And we hope to see you guys again next Wednesday. Bye for now.
Thanks. Have a great rest of your week, everybody.